started having these fevers and these colds and cold sweats, and these breathing was starting to affect me.
Brian Thomas lives in the Northern Saskatchewan community of Buffalo River. He was one of more than 24 community members who was diagnosed with tuberculosis in and around 2013.
They didn't know what it was at the time, at the moment. Oh, you got TB. You gotta stay at home. We gotta keep you isolated for a while.
When Brian Thomas was sick, he had to travel more than 100 kilometers south to Isla Cross in order to be diagnosed with tuberculosis. Others in the community had to travel even further south to larger centers like Prince Albert or Saskatoon if they needed more specialized treatment. Tuberculosis expert Chris Stewart says the disease is still a problem in the north.
Living conditions in the north, particularly on reserve, we know are compromised, that there's a lot more crowding and TB, when there's a lot of crowding, there's a lot more TB transmission.
In 2013, the province launched a tuberculosis strategy that aimed to reduce its rate of the disease. The goal of the strategy was to increase awareness and improve diagnosis and treatment capabilities in northern Saskatchewan.
Well, globally, there's a movement to eliminate tuberculosis. Our challenge in Saskatchewan is that we're not simply treating in the urban setting. We're treating at a relatively small population spread across a large area. And so being able to deliver service to people where they live in a way that is convenient enough for them to be successful is a challenge for us.
I always tell them, like, if they have any symptoms to come in, and usually they will, like, if they feel like they have any of the symptoms, they'll come in and they'll get checked. But we're trying to make people as comfortable as possible and to understand more about it. It's kind of getting better now. It's just like trying to get people in.
So the usual process is that if somebody has a TB pneumonia and they cough the TB bacilli into the air, those germs go into the lungs, and an acute active infection could develop in them. But much more often what happens is that that person's immune system will sequester the TB and put it to sleep. And that's called latent TB. So they're not sick, they're not infectious, but they have the sleeping germ, and that germ can remain asleep for their whole life. Or it could wake up sometime in the future.
James Sylvester carried the sleeping germ, which became active about 6 years ago. Tuberculosis affected his brain and led to him being in a coma for months. He was told he likely picked up the germ when he was a student at a residential school.
I looked around and then I thought, where am I? And here I was in a hospital. I don't even remember, nothing. It was like, just like it was just like I died for four months and then come back alive again.
Tuberculosis rates are still far higher in the north than anywhere else in the province. But communities like Buffalo River show that efforts to combat the disease are working. Today, no one in the community has TB.
TB is in the province, and it will be for some time. That said, overall in the north, over time, I think we are seeing a decrease in cases.